My mother left me 14 voicemails in under 3 minutes. I sat there and watched my phone vibrate across the glass coffee table, buzzing and skittering like an angry insect trapped in a jar. She wasn't calling to say hello. She wasn't calling to ask how my day was. She was calling because she was currently standing in the living room of an apartment in downtown Seattle, an apartment that she thought was mine, and realizing that for the first time in 27 years, she had absolutely no idea where I was. She was screaming into the voicemail, threatening to call the FBI, convinced I'd been kidnapped. But I wasn't kidnapped. I was sitting on a velvet armchair on the 24th floor of a building that requires a retina scan to enter, sipping an espresso, and watching the chaos unfold through a digital feed I was about to cut off forever. They thought breaking into my home was an act of love. They thought installing a surveillance device to watch me sleep was just parental protection. Well, I decided to give them one final show before the screen went black. Welcome back to Epic Reddit Files. Before we dive into the nuclear fallout of my family dynamic, I need to do a quick check-in. Since we have just officially crossed into 2026, I want to wish every single one of you a Happy New Year. It's crazy how fast time flies, isn't it? Drop a comment right now and let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Also, I'm really curious, how do people wish each other a Happy New Year in your culture or language? Do you have a specific tradition? Let me know down below. I truly hope you'll continue to support the channel this year as we grow together. Now, let's get into the story. The first sign that my boundaries were being erased wasn't a shout. It was a whisper. It was a bottle of wine. My name is Elena, and for my 27th birthday, I did what every suffocated daughter dreams of. I signed a lease. It was a beautiful, albeit overpriced, brownstone unit in the historic district. It had creaky hardwood floors, high ceilings, and most importantly, a heavy oak door that locked. My parents, Martha and David, were devastated. To them, my moving out wasn't a natural progression of adulthood. It was a personal insult. On moving day, my mother cornered me by the moving truck. She looked at me with those eyes welling up with weaponized tears she'd perfected over decades and said, "We need a key, Elena. What if you slip in the shower? What if there's a fire and you're unconscious? We're only 40 minutes away. We need to be able to save you." I was exhausted. I was hauling boxes. I just wanted the conversation to end. So I made the fatal error. I gave her the spare key. I told myself it was for emergencies only. I told myself normal parents respect boundaries. I was wrong. 2 weeks in, I came home from my job as a data architect to find my apartment distinctively different. It wasn't ransacked. It was edited. The cashmere throw blanket I kept on the sofa, a dark charcoal gray, was folded into a triangle on the armchair. My coffee table books were restacked by size, but the thing that made my blood run cold was in the kitchen. I had been saving a bottle of vintage 2018 Pinot Noir, a gift from a client, for a special occasion. I found it sitting on the counter, uncorked, half empty, with a lipstick stain on a wine glass in the sink. My lipstick shade is sheer balm. This was bright, aggressive coral, my mother's shade. I called her immediately. I asked her if she had been in my apartment. She chirped back, completely unbothered, saying that she and my father were in the neighborhood for errands and she needed to use a restroom because the public bathroom at the park was filthy. When I confronted her about drinking a $200 bottle of wine, she scoffed and told me not to be dramatic. She said it was just sitting there collecting dust and that it was too acidic anyway. She told me I should buy the blend she recommended, and that they had aired out the place because it smelled like stale takeout. She didn't apologize for breaking in. She critiqued the wine she stole. That was the baseline. If I had known then what I know now, I would have changed the locks that night. Instead, I let it slide. I thought, it's just wine. It's just one visit. But predators don't stop after one bite. A month later, I walked in on a Tuesday afternoon. I had come home early due to a migraine, expecting silence. Instead, I found my apartment transformed into a film set. My younger sister, Chloe, is 22 and lists her occupation as influencer, which mostly means she spends my parents' money on clothes she returns after taking photos. The living room was blinded by 3 massive softbox lights. My furniture had been pushed against the walls. And there, sitting at my dining table, was Chloe. She was doing a "what's in my bag" video, speaking to her phone which was propped up on my work laptop. My work laptop contains sensitive, encrypted architectural data for government contracts. One spill, one wrong click, and I could be fired and sued. When I shouted her name, she jumped, knocking over an iced matcha latte. The green sludge spread across the table, missing my laptop by a fraction of an inch, but soaking a stack of legal documents I needed to sign. Instead of apologizing, she groaned and rolled her eyes, telling me I had ruined the take. When I told her she was trespassing, she just said Mom gave her the key. She said the lighting was better here than at home and asked why I was being such a witch about it. Then she said the sentence that revealed everything. She said, "We're family. What's yours is ours." That was the family motto. I kicked her out, threatening to throw her ring light off the balcony if she didn't leave in 3 minutes. She called me toxic and posted about me on her story, vague booking about ungrateful siblings. I changed the locks the next day. I thought that was the end of it. I thought physics would stop them. If the key doesn't fit, they can't get in, right? I underestimated their desperation for control. 3 weeks later, the violation escalated from annoying to criminal. It was a Sunday morning. I was in the shower. My bathroom had a frosted window that opened onto a narrow utility ledge. Not quite a balcony, but accessible if you were determined. I kept it cracked for the steam. I was rinsing conditioner out of my hair when the light in the room shifted. A shadow blocked the sun. Then I heard a metallic screech. I froze. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. I watched, paralyzed, as the window slid upward. A heavy boot stepped onto the windowsill. I screamed. I grabbed the only weapon I had, a heavy glass bottle of body wash, and prepared to swing. A head popped through. It was my father, David. He was straddling my windowsill, halfway into my bathroom while I was naked, clutching a towel to my chest, hyperventilating. He didn't retreat. He didn't look ashamed. He actually looked annoyed that I was making a fuss. He climbed fully into the room, tracking mud onto my pristine white bath mat. He told me to relax, that he rang the doorbell and I didn't answer, but he knew I was home because my car was out front. When I screamed at him to get out, he pulled a drill out of his pocket as if this were a normal interaction. He said he was just there to install a safety bar on the window because the lock looked flimsy. The irony was so thick it was choking me. He had broken into my home while I was naked to prevent a break-in. I screamed at him to leave, to use the door and get out. He grumbled the whole way out, muttering about how I was hysterical and ungrateful for his handyman services. He unlocked my front door from the inside and left it wide open. I sat on the floor of my hallway, dripping wet, shaking uncontrollably. That was the moment I realized they didn't see me as a person. They saw me as an extension of themselves, a limb that had detached and needed to be managed. Boundaries didn't apply to them because, in their minds, I didn't exist separately from them. I knew I had to move, but I couldn't just move. I had to vanish. I spent the next 2 days in a manic cleaning frenzy. I needed to purge the apartment of their energy before I left. I was wiping down the baseboards in the bedroom when I reached the humidifier. It was a housewarming gift from my parents. A sleek, expensive white tower unit. My mother had insisted on it, saying the city air was dry and bad for my sinuses. I went to unplug it to wipe the dust underneath. My thumb slipped on the plastic casing near the digital display, and a piece of the front panel felt loose. It shouldn't have been loose. This was a $400 unit. I pulled at the plastic. It popped off with a snap. My world stopped. Inside, wired directly into the power supply so it never needed batteries, was a small black square, a lens, and next to it, a tiny blue light that was blinking steadily. It was a camera, a high-definition Wi-Fi-enabled camera with a microphone. I didn't breathe. I stared at that blinking eye, and my mind replayed the last 3 months. Every phone call I'd taken in my bedroom, every time I'd changed clothes, every time I'd cried alone on my bed, every intimate moment. They hadn't just been visiting. They had been watching. My mother's comments about my new pajamas suddenly made sense. My father asking if I was still coughing on days I hadn't spoken to them. It wasn't intuition. It was surveillance. I wanted to smash it. I wanted to drive to their house and burn it down. But then, a cold, calm clarity washed over me. This was illegal. This was a felony. And it was also my ticket to freedom. I carefully snapped the plastic cover back on. I left the unit plugged in. I left the camera facing the bed. I walked out of the room into the hallway, out of the camera's view, and opened my laptop. It was time for Protocol Zero. I didn't hire a normal moving company. I hired a firm that specializes in corporate relocation for executives who need discretion. I signed a lease at the Obsidian, a high-rise fortress on the other side of the city. It was expensive, painfully so, but it offered biometric entry, 24/7 armed concierge, and elevators that didn't move without a fob. I scheduled the move for a Friday morning when I knew my parents would be at their country club. The movers were like ghosts. They packed my entire life in 4 hours. I directed them to leave the bedroom for last. I wanted the camera to see a normal room until the very final second. When everything was gone, the furniture, the clothes, the rugs, the apartment echoed. The only thing left was the white humidifier in the corner of the empty bedroom, humming softly, blinking its blue eye. I walked up to it. I leaned in close to the hidden microphone and whispered, "Game over." Then I yanked the cord from the wall. The light died. I took the humidifier with me. It was evidence. I didn't tell them I was leaving. I blocked their numbers on my sister's phone. I set up email filters to send their messages directly to a folder marked legal. It took 48 hours for them to panic. I was settling into my new living room, looking out at a view of the skyline that felt like victory, when the notifications started rolling in. I had unblocked them for 1 hour, just to witness the meltdown. My mom texted asking if the power went out because the feed was down. My dad texted demanding I answer my phone. Then came the messages saying the key didn't work and that they were at the apartment. Then came the voicemail, the screaming, the threat of the police. I let them simmer for another 20 minutes. Then I sent a single text to a group chat containing Mom, Dad, and Chloe. It was a photo, a close-up, high-resolution picture of the dismantled humidifier with the camera lens and wiring exposed on my new kitchen counter. I followed it with a message telling them I found it. I found the camera. I found the microphone. I told them I knew they had been watching me, that I had the SD card, and that I had the recorded footage of Dad breaking into my bathroom. The typing bubbles appeared and disappeared. Silence. I sent one final text. I told them that if they tried to find me, if they showed up at my work, or if they ever contacted me again without my permission, I would walk into the nearest police station and file charges for voyeurism, stalking, and breaking and entering. I told them I had the evidence and the timestamps. My phone rang instantly. It was my father. I declined the call. My mother texted saying they were just worried about me and did it out of love. I blocked them. It has been 3 months. I still wake up sometimes and scan the room for blinking lights, but the panic is fading. The silence in my new apartment isn't lonely. It's peaceful. It's the sound of safety. My doorman, a terrifyingly large man named Victor, has a photo of my parents. He has strict instructions that if they ever show up, he is to call the police immediately. I learned a hard lesson this year. You cannot heal in the environment that made you sick. And sometimes, the people who claim to protect you are the ones you need protection from. I built a fortress, and for the first time in my life, I am the only one with the key. That is where our story ends for today. If you've ever had to go no contact or build your own fortress to protect your peace, hit that like button. You are not alone. Don't forget to subscribe to Epic Reddit Files for more stories about the dark side of human nature. And seriously, let me know in the comments, how would you have handled finding that camera? Would you have called the cops immediately, or did she play it right? See you in the next one. Stay safe out there.